Hi there, welcome to this video all about fonts. How do we pick them? Where do we get them from? How to pick good combinations, more good combinations, and then how to kind of get them ready in XD so they're ready to use. We've got a light and a dark version. We'll go through what styles you can use, what weights you can use, and how they relate to your baseline grid. It's a long video, settle in, maybe a cup of tea this one. There's not too much doing, there's a lot of listening. I do all the doing, you do the listening. Put the kettle on and let's get started. All right, so let's talk about what fonts you can use. So up until now, we just used Arial, whatever was on our machine we used. So now we need to pick font faces that can be used online and in an app. So we need special kinds of fonts. So let's grab the type tool. Let's click once and I'm gonna type in Dan and I'm gonna zoom in. Actually, I'm gonna click on the black arrow and then zoom in. Okay, and with this font here, all of this stuff is just stuff that's on my computer. Okay, I can't just use any of it. I need to ensure that it is available through a website. It can be licensed. Now there's two kinds of fonts you can license. There's paid ones and free ones. Now check with the company that you're doing work for. They might already have a corporate font and you might go and see whether it's a font that can be used in a website. And I'll show you how in the moment. And whether it needs to be paid licensed or whether it's a free one. So there's two main places to check for both free and paid. I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to go to on my browser at least, and there's two places, fonts.adobe.com, which used to be called Typekit, and then there's fonts.google.com. Now the difference between them is they have a lot of similarities. There's some fonts in the Adobe version that are also in Google's fonts. Google's are all completely free to use. Okay, you can use them commercially for your projects. Adobe you're allowed to use them commercially, but you're paying for them. So there can be some in here that aren't free, if you know what I mean. Like you're getting them as part of your Creative Cloud license. They say because you're a Creative Cloud license member, you can get, it used to be 100, I think it's up to like 300 or 1,000 you can use as part of your subscription. Okay, so you just got to be careful of that you're actually paying for them in a certain way. But it's okay, you're a Creative Cloud member and you're paying for it, so it's fine. Unless you're using the free version of XD, which might not be as cool. So you might want to switch to Google Fonts. So how to use both of them? Adobe is the easier one to use because you go into here, you click on font packs, browse fonts. You decide on what font you want to use. And there's a little slider when it loads, I'll show you. So I'm in browse. The one I'm looking for, the main one is, see this thing in brackets? It means there's a web version of it available. There are less and less. When it first came out, there was quite a few of them that didn't have this option to be a web version of the font. Okay, so that little icon there says it can be used on websites as well. Okay, great, beautiful type for the web. Let's click OK. I'm actually going to cancel that down. So what I want to do is I'm designing with XD. I need to download these fonts. To do it, all I need to do is activate the font. So let's say that, let's go through this. This is kind of handy. So let's say I'm looking for a heading so I can be a bit more decorative. Okay, I could use hand fonts or decorative fonts. And you can see they're just they're not going to be good for body copy, but they could be quite cool and quirky for headlines. And let's say that I like this one here, Bello, and I'm like, you are mine, Bello. What's going to happen is you've selected Activate Font. You'll notice that the Creative Cloud app starts doing his little thing as well. And hopefully in XD there he is, there's little syncing. And hopefully it'll tell me in a second that it's synced. There it is. Bello Caps Regular has been activated. So now in XD, I can go to this and say Bello. Doesn't want to work. Click off. We might have to restart it. I can't remember. I thought it updated straight away. It doesn't. So I'm going to save, close, and reopen it. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I'm back. I've restarted XD, and I think that's just a quirk from my computer, like at the moment today. Often I don't have to restart it. You can see there's Bello, it's installed, it's ready to go. I can start using it on my site. So that's using Adobe fonts. Just a couple little things I want to quickly show you. When you are doing headings for a website, you don't have to, but let's say I want to work with all of them, but I want it to be headings. It's going to kind of cut it down a bit, and I want the widths to be a little bit more narrow because headings, I don't want to break onto two lines. So I want the heading to fit a lot of characters on it before it breaks down. You can see the difference. If I use this font at the exact same size as this font, I can fit a lot more in there. So you'll find a lot of headings that people use in other websites are a slightly more kind of a narrow version of the fonts because they just want to fit more characters in. Other little things you can do is you can just type in here, you can say, because what's ours, instructor HQ, you can actually look at the characters before you move it through to see like, oh, that's kind of cool and quirky, and you can decide rather than kind of downloading a font and then noticing it doesn't look good in the kind of characters that you have to use it. So let's move on to Google Fonts. It's slightly different. You come into here, fonts.google.com. They've got some same sort of filtering over here. We can pick display fonts or turn the sans serif off, the thickness. But let's say we go through and we're like, this is the one for me. Okay, this one here. I'm gonna pick one that I can actually say. Let's call this one, oh, not Charm. Jeez, no way. Oswald I like, I've already got it. I'm trying to find one that I don't have. Let's say I don't have Oswald. I like Oswald. Let's say I like this font. You hit this little plus button. Okay, and you're like, what's it done now? Nothing really. It says one family selected, click on it. Then you want to hit this little download button. You have to kind of manually download it and install it if it comes from Google Fonts. Okay, so hit download this section. It's gonna zip it. I'm gonna stick mine on my desktop, save, open it up. And on a Mac, it's pretty easy, right? You just, and if you open it up, desktop, there he is there, Oswald. I'm gonna select all of these and just open it up. And on a Mac, you just click install and off it goes. On a PC, it's exactly the same now. You have to be using a really old version of Windows for that not to work. You'll have to Google it for your version of Windows, but just double click it and it should install. You might have to restart XD and then you can start using it. You're allowed to use them commercially, which Adobe says is okay. Now there's a couple of things to consider when you are picking fonts. So font choice in general, just as pure design, you don't want to be picking like loads of different styles, but there is an extra added like consideration when you're dealing with websites, is that the speed in which the page loads. So if I go to a website and I load, say, one of my ones, so bring your own laptop, it's loading, it's waiting. One of the things that's slowing it down is the font that's being downloaded. So I'm using Open Sans on this particular site. Okay, so in here, it has to go off, find Open Sans, download it, and get it ready for the browser to use. And what ends up happening is if you have 5, 6, 7 different fonts and lots of different weights, and weights I mean bold, italics, light, extra bold, black, it's going to take forever to download. And why is that important? Because we don't want our users taking a long time to load, and Google uses it as one of its metrics for deciding whether you're search engine friendly or not. Is the user going to have to sit there while you load like a million fonts? Google gives you a little indication in here. So what we did, can you see it says load time fast? Because we've only got one font family. So what you can do is you say, oh, I like this one, I like this one, and this one, and this one. Oh, Charm. Can't even pretend to like you. Where you go? Can't say that one, but it's going in. Now if I look in here, I've only got 4, but it says load time moderate. And you're like, oh, it's not too bad. I got 4 fonts. But that's only if you only want to use the regular version. Let's say I want in here, this one only has regular. Railway though, say I want to use I love the thin one, and I want the light version, and the semi-bold, and black. Same with this, I want them all. Can you see it's going into like crazy load time? So back to the top here, load time is slow. Okay, and just means, so what you really want to do is you want 1 or 2 fonts. I wouldn't pick this one here unless it was maybe just for the heading. Okay, but let's say I'm going to use Railway and Source Sans. I'd probably just use a regular version and maybe a bold. I'm going to use a bold italic, a regular italic, because you're going to, like, even if you don't want to use it, there's going to be times where you just have to have an italic. It's just going to need it somewhere. And over here for Oswald, I want the light version. There is no italics, so I'm going to use this for the heading. So I want light, I want regular, and probably just semi-bold. Okay, I'm going to get rid of Source Sans. We're still at load time slow, and that's bad. Let's try and tidy up these guys. Railway I've got, Source Sans I'm getting rid of. It's still slow. And the SEO person in me says, cut more down, okay? Get rid of lots more fonts. But the designer in me says, I need some extra weights. I've only got 2 fonts, come on. You do better with yourself. So ideally, you'd like it to be moderate or low. But for me, or fast, it never ends up being fast. And I'm happy to take that cut. In SEO goodness, But you might be dealing with a developer or a designer, or yourself. You might be like, no way, load time is important. We're only going to have one font. All right, so that's some of the technicalities for picking fonts. Let's say that you want to pick them and you're just like, oh, what do I do? I do it all the time. I'm like, I'm sick of using charm on everything. I want to go and find another, what's a nice combination? And the word font pairing is a really handy one to learn. So if you Google font pairing, Google fonts, okay, and I just Googled it, and all of these kind of first things that appear all give you just really nice, I just loaded a few of them. You can see here, Oswald with Garamond. And it just gives you like a visual kind of indication of what they kind of look together. And that's quite cool. Open Sans with Open Sans Condensed. So they've used the condensed font at the top, which gives me lots of characters, and just a nice thin or regular version down here. You just go through, maybe Railway and Roboto. Now you'll have to type in font pairing type kit. That's what it was called last year. It's now called Adobe Fonts, but you won't find many font pairing Adobe Fonts listings just yet. So type in typekit instead. And I loaded a few of these, and you can just see, just looking at like kind of nice ideas. And this particular site, you've got to click under the hood, and it will tell you which fonts are being used. And I can't be bothered loading it. But anyway, there it is there. Those two fonts. You can go into Adobe Fonts, search for them, and use those two to get this kind of combination going. Now, we want to use consistency throughout the site, so I find it's easier when I get started to give myself a few bits of text that I can use in my designs rather than just changing the font as I go or font size as I go. Now, I never did this when I was new, so I was half reluctant to show you this because it's something that I do now because I'm like, everything needs to be consistent, and it's more important than it has ever been for me. But for you, you might be like, it's too much hassle. I'm just going to pick a font as I go. You're okay to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'll give myself a couple of headings and a few different body copy styles to use. And I can just, like I did with these color swatches, I'm just going to have it up here. You saw it at the beginning. I'm just going to add them here to make it easy to design with. Now I'm going to install the fonts. I've actually got mine already installed. I'm using Playfair and Roboto. Now, if you're looking for body copy fonts, basically Roboto, Open Sans, Source Sans are like the new Arial for the world. Or Calibri, what's the one in Word? But anyway, it's just a really solid body copy font, and it's really legible. It's available in more than one language, and nobody's gonna hate it. I'll show you what I do. So I'm gonna grab my type tool, I'm gonna click once. This one's gonna be called heading 1. I'm using Playfair. So I've already installed it. We've covered how to install them. If you want to use the fonts, I've included them in your exercise files. Where are they? Text and fonts, there's Playfair and Roboto. You can just double click them to install them all. I'm not going to use them all, but they're all in there for you. So what I want is I'm going to use Playfair. And now I'm going to pick some sizes. I'm going to start with a 40. I only pick 40 because I've done loads of these. I'm like, 40 is a nice big font. You can change it later on. And remember, I'm zoomed in at 100%. So remember Command 1 or Control 1. Just so that you're picking font sizes at the right size. So that's going to be heading 1. I'm going to do a heading 2 as well. And I'm going to do 32. And I'm probably going to do a heading 3 that is 20. Those are really common sizes online. I'll show you why in a sec. So this is going to be heading 2. Oh, heading 2. This one's going to be heading 3. The reason we do kind of breakpoints like this is because of our the baseline grid system. We kind of talked about this earlier on. If you're starting to glaze over, that's okay. You're allowed to glaze over and just listen and don't take it in. You don't have to follow these rules, but I want to try and, I guess, add as much value as I can. So remember our grid system? Now we did it by 8. The reason 8 was good is because remember we were going to use a body copy of 16. You could halve it. It's the same with these guys. You're just going to work out what your headings are. It would be super handy. Doesn't have to be, if they were divisible by 8, by any sort of okay number. So calculator, there it is over there. So if I go 40 divided by 8, doesn't have to be perfect. We're not sure what happened here. Let's go 40 divided by 8. Okay, goes into it 5 times. I can't do that math, by the way, people. You might be like, it's 5. I can't do that. This calculator's on, you might be like me. This calculator's on constantly on my computer because I need it. I'll show you why this is all good and divisible. So remember we've got 32. So 32 divided by 8. It's 4, Daniel, 4. And I can't do this either. It's probably 3, right? Let's take a risk. 3 times 8. How am I getting this so wrong? I'm just going to do it. Let's go 24 divided by 8. Okay, it gets me 3 times in. If it's not a whole number, at least a 0.5. So if you decided to use 20 and divide it by 8, 2.5 is an okay number. It's going to mean your grids are going to line up. Now, what do I mean by this baseline grid is if I copy this and I paste them over here and I make the line spacing the same. So it's going to be a 40 font with 40 line spacing. And I come in here and I type in another line, another line. Lucky I've got predictive text on. It's partially helping me. I'm going to copy it all, paste it a few times, because what I want to show you is if I zoom in and if I line this text up, I'm lining the heading up. Can you see this heading? I'm going to move it up a little bit. See, it lines up with this baseline grid here. Can you see every line does? That's why it's handy if it's divisible by your baseline grid. Consistency throughout the document works really good with body copy as well. And that is it. If you're like, man, baseline grid, I understand it, Dan, we don't want to do it anymore. That's the last time I'm going to mention it. Okay. So I had to kind of bring it back in here because fonts are, you want text lining up nicely along with things like physical objects or page furniture, as we like to call them. So I'm going to fill out the rest of this text here and no longer talk about baseline grid, I promise. I'm going to grab another one, and this one's going to be my body copy. And I'll create a couple of different versions for body copy. And this is, we're using Roboto. So we decided 16, really common body copy size, can be smaller. And we're using Roboto, regular. Cool, so that's going to be that. You'll probably need to have a bold version of it as well. Remember, every time I add another one of these to my design, I'm slowing down the page load. Will I need an italic bold? Maybe not. We'll have to see about that one. You probably need some like T's and C text when we get down to like 10 points or something super small. I'll probably only run that in the regular. Actually, I'll make a smaller version, 8. 10's not divisible by our little baseline grid. There, I mentioned it one more time. I want to do one more thing. I want to create another version of them. I'm going to right align them. There we go. And I'm going to make a white fill. And these guys actually should be black. So now I've got some fonts to start with. I've got 2 styles, a couple of different weights. I've only gone for 1 weight in the heading. I've just used the regular version. Doesn't even have a lighter version. There's a bold one, but I think I just like it as the regular version. Now this is a long video, I know, but I guess you need the skinny on where to get fonts, why you can't have too many, and how they relate to the baseline grid. We done? I'm done. You're done. Let's get into the next video. Hi there, I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Daniel Scott. If you would like to do the full course, there'll be a link in the description for that. Please give this video on YouTube here a thumbs up. It really helps me and what I'm doing. Also consider subscribing to the channel. I release a video like this every week for your viewing pleasure. All right, bye.